So welcome back. We are OMG. This is probably the panel everybody wants to be, that's been waiting for, is sales and marketing, because the funny thing is, I think people always think that they need more sales and more marketing. But I actually think that's the opposite. I think that we need bigger and better business development, which is why we didn't start with sales and marketing first. We wanted to make sure that we gave everybody a good, solid foundation, and sales and marketing really is the last piece of the puzzle, right? It cannot be the forefront of your business, because if everything else is not working right, then the marketing is not going to work, right? You have to have everything down pat. So with that being said, we are super duper excited to chat with everybody today about this very exciting topic. We have some really awesome speakers and panelists today. So we're going to get started with, let's see here, Miss Tamira. Hey girl, we're going to start with you. So Tamira, I know she is all over all the places, all the medias that you could possibly be. But the one thing that she is really good at is creating compelling captions. Can you tell us, what is the anatomy of a compelling caption? Why do we need?
Well, the caption is basically like your mini advertisement. It's your ability to tell the story. It's the ability to fill in the holes of what's not in the video or what's in the picture, or tell the story behind the picture or the video. So the anatomy is that first line needs to be a hook. It needs to draw people in, and then you want to kind of give them a little precursor to what you're going to talk about and kind of set the stage. Then you kind of drop a question. I like to drop a question to try to get people engaged and keep them reading. The analogy that my mentor taught me was like, it's a slippery chute. Like, you just want to get people on the slide and just keep them going down the slide to the bottom. And so that's how you want to structure your caption. First, like I said, with that hook, you want to then do like a little mini ask, like, like this, or comment, or you're going to want to save this one, is one I like to use to kind of let people know this is definitely something that is savable. And then from there, you go into and give them the meat. And then I like to ask another question and another ask, another call to action. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I find captions, especially on Instagram, is what I'm envisioning as I'm speaking.
Yeah.
To flow, is because that you've got such a small period of time to grab people's attention. And you have to keep in mind that there are multiple people who are going to be on social media, right? You're going to have your people like me who are skimmers. I'm going to skim. And so if you can use the little crazy and cool font tools that are out there to differentiate between your text, and white space, if you can't, white space is your next best thing. Kind of make your copy choppy is how I like to do it. So that people can see where things begin and end, because you're going to have your skimmers. You're going to have your people who read every single word. And we all know, because you can say, I'm selling apple pies on Saturday at 12 on 12th and Baker, and they're going to be $9.99, and you're going to get the questions, how much, where, and when.
Isn't that the truth? Oh my goodness.
So you're still going to get those people who don't read, or they can't read, or whatever the deal is. And so I try to structure my content so that it appeals to all of them, mm-hmm. and brings them all into the world of Tamira.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Do you find you get do you use like emojis or anything to like break up the text so that it's not just one big giant paragraph? What do you recommend for?
Yes, I'm a huge fan, first of all, of white space. Mm-hmm. I try not to overuse emojis, but I do like to use a nice mix of emojis. And I really like to use emojis in place of like bullets. Yeah. So I like to give people lists because you only get like 2,000 characters or something like that. And so you want to really make good use of that space. I know some people will do longer ones and then they will say go in the comments, but if you got a whole bunch of comments, it's hard to find that one comment with the continuation. So I like to keep it to the length of the caption on Instagram, for example, and then let people know that maybe I have a blog post that goes into more depth, or maybe I have a YouTube video that goes more into depth, and the link for that is in my bio. That's one of my favorite calls to action, is to send people to the link in my bio, because Instagram is measuring that, and that's one of the things they like to look at to determine whose content to put in front of other people. And then they're also keeping track of, and they're aware of, if people are bouncing out of your content. Are they reporting your content? Are they reporting you for being, like a trash vendor? Like you don't deliver what you say you're going to and when you're going to. Them and Facebook, because they're the same company, are keeping track of those kinds of things.
Yeah. I think, just so you know, I think your microphone is brushing up against your clothes, and so it's making crunchy noises.
Oh, sorry.
So you know.
Sorry.
No, that's probably better. There you go. So which platform do you get the most engagement out of?
Oh my God. I think I get engagement on every platform I'm on. Because that's kind of like,
you get engagement on everything.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. I'm the chief engagement officer. So engagement is the name of my game, and I play it very well. So I tend to get engagement on every platform. Here's the thing. Number one, maybe this will be better. Number one is, you have to create engaging content, first of all. If your content isn't engaging, you can't expect engagement. The other piece of it is, you get what you ask for. So if you don't ask for the engagement, you're not going to get the engagement. And so that's the key to getting engagement wherever you go. And I would say the third thing is to be authentic. If you are just you, and keep in mind, I am the most introverted person you will ever meet in your life. People don't believe me until they either stay in a hotel room with me or they travel a distance by car. I am extremely introverted, right? I don't really believe there's this whole ambivert thing that people throw out there. I know how to show up. I know how to be on when I need to be on, but when I need to be off, I need to be off, right? And so keep that in mind, yet people still engage with me because I'm honest and I'm forthright about the fact that I am an introvert. And just, it's almost confrontational, or a, what's the word I'm looking for, Paige? It's kind of like a conflict. Like, people want to argue
always
about
want
it.
to challenge with you, saying that,
Yeah,
well, how can you be, they want to challenge her and say, well, how can you be an introvert? You say you're such an introvert, but I see you everywhere. Those are two things. They're not mutually exclusive. So I think that's I'm sorry, go ahead, girl.
Yeah. And so that kind of content is, it causes discussion. It causes conversation. That's my signature presentation, is conversation is the new lead. And so it becomes a point of conversation of, how are you? I mean, you walk in the room with all these bold and crazy hair colors that you change by the minute. How are you an introvert? And so whatever it is about you, like the discussion we were having a couple, when I showed up like 2.5 hours early for this, around your crazy food combinations, like ketchup with tacos. Like, are you serious? Like, yeah, because I don't do chunks. I like my food consistency smooth and easy. And so sharing those weird little nuances about you, and being nuanced in your content, is what is going to make it very controversial. Another tip is, my content, people have told me, I knew it was you before I heard the voice, and in a nanosecond I saw it, and I knew that was your content, even if it wasn't my face. They knew that it was me, because I've really created a certain style, a certain brand, a certain look, a certain appeal, and the topics themselves. And so being engaging is easy when you show up consistently. You allow people to get to know you by being vulnerable and authentic, and let them in and connect with them through basically your weaknesses. I heard someone say this years ago. People will admire you for your strengths, yet they will connect with you through your weaknesses. There's not a makeup video where I can't find something, or I drop 15 different things, or I don't know what day of the week it is. You know, I don't get on and try to be this perfect Pollyanna. I get on and I'm the hot mess express that Tamira Hamilton is.
I love
Yeah.
Including my mic rubbing all up against my double D's.
Right. I think it's also more about not instead of, but in addition to what Tamira is saying, all about being memorable, right? And when you are authentic and you do share those off, quirky, or even normal things about you, people remember that. Do you all know how many of the B. Arthur, she was a veteran posts that have been sent to my inbox this week? Right? Like 57, literally. Because everyone knows that a part of my brand is I love the Golden Girls. Everybody knows that. And I am not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to quote the show. And, you know, but everyone knows that. And that speaks to the brand, right? I know that Tamira loves tacos. So when I see something that has tacos on it or a margarita, I know that that is something that she will enjoy, or people know that about her because she consistently, and this is where that whole sales and marketing comes in, you consistently share what your brand is. Today, I posted a post with macarons, little French, you know, sandwich cookies. And people are just like, I can't go into a restaurant or a bakery without thinking of you when I see a macaron. And I'm thinking, fantastic. That means the marketing is working. I'm available for hire to help you too, right? So it's like you want to make sure that you are doing those things and that you're engaging with your audience. One of the things that I love that Tamira does all the time is that she invites people to share their, you know, share their magic too. And it's never the Tamira show. It is always how she can help other people. And she's, you know, always open to having that type of engagement on her post. So anywho, that's all I gotta say.
One thing I would say to the audience is if you can just comment in the chat, you know, what is something that people constantly tag you on, right? And one of the things I run through with my influence booster course is I want you to go and I want you to talk to 5-10 friends and I want you to ask them some questions. One of them being, when you think of me, what is the first thing that comes to mind, right? That is part of your personal brand. And even if you're not building a quote unquote personal brand per se, you know, like one of my brands is Haute Chocolat. When you think of Haute Chocolat, you better be thinking of glowing skin, right? You better be thinking of beauty in every shade, because that's what I put out for 7 or 10 years. And so that's what you want to find out from people. And you want to constantly be doing that check and balance, because sometimes we think that's what we're putting out, but everybody ain't always picking up what we're throwing down. And so you want to do that check-in every so often and ask these questions. You want to think to yourself, what are people tagging me on? What are people letting me know by their actions that when they think of me, they think of this? Like when I show up at a polka dot meeting and someone has taco socks for me, that's branding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, Elaine, you've had a situation where you actually had to adjust that. Maybe you can share that with everyone today.
I was doing a brand check, like Tamira says, like I do that ever so often because I want to make sure that the content I'm putting out is reflective of, I know what people, I know that what I put out reflects on my brand. And so I wanted to make sure that we were in alignment. And one of the things that was said a lot was my pug. And I was like, F-bombs, because I don't want my pug associated with my brand. Like she's not my mascot or anything like that. And I didn't want that confusion. So I started shifting how much I talked about my pug. And people probably more associate Jax now with me because I'm a grandmom pup, dog mom. And he's always coming and messing around with me in my videos because he's taller than my pug, but my pug is always here in the room at my feet, but you don't see her. So it forced me to make a shift in the content that I was posting because I was like, that's not what I really wanted associated with my brand. I did a brand check the other day because I was teaching a class about branding, and all of the comments were, they think of profanity when they think of me. And I'm like, my brand it's working because that is what I have become known for, is the girl with the potty mouth, because I have the potty mouth pep talk. I had a subscription box and then the podcast, and I'm not afraid to let a good F-bomb go when I'm heated, right? But I'm also very appropriate. It's the appropriate time and place. But it told me when I did that brand recheck-in, my pug came up nowhere, right? There was no mention of my pug. So all of it had been, and photography was not mentioned again. Yay, because
we lost you again. Girl, we lost you again.
Okay, so I don't know why
it's okay.
Doing that.
I'm not sure either.
So going from photographer to business coach and teaching people that I'm no longer a photographer, that was hard for people to make that adjustment because they still saw me that way. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also about being intentional with what you're going to be posting.
Yep.
Not saying that everything, I'm a planner and I use planning tools and all the things. Not saying that you have to have everything planned out, but you do have to have your content pillars of what you want to be known for. So Tamira, maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Oh, you're muted, hun.
The phrase of the year, you're on mute. It's me this time. So, your content pillars again, what are your things that you're going to consistently put out to create and reinforce and educate your brand on, right? Some of them are going to be personal and some of them are going to be specifically related to what it is that you do to serve others. One thing I do want to say is in relation to your captions, in relation to conversation and engagement, the three of them are really kind of like the triumvirate in order to get to a conversion. So your caption, you really want to make that something that is going to end up stirring conversation, as we've discussed. But when people are commenting, when people are in your inbox, please respond to them. If you want to be engaging, if you want engagement, you need to be engaging. This is not a one-way street. This is not a monologue. I need you. You need you. You need you. Okay, that's the most important phrase. You need you to be having conversation, because that is, if you do this appropriately, the business development piece and the sales and marketing piece really flow effortlessly and easily. Y'all know me. I've been on the 8 through 8 Collective podcast. If it doesn't come from joy, ease, and flow, Tamira Hamilton is not about it at all, right? And so my content needs to lead to conversation, because those are the people that are raising their hand and saying, hey, Tamira, I love what you're doing. I need your help. And it may not sound that way. It may sound like a question about the content or digging deeper. And that is exactly what I want, because I am lazy and I do not like rejection. I don't like rejection. So I want to talk to and deal with the people who want to talk to and deal with me. And so that's why I like to do a mix of, yeah, I love tacos. I love my grandbabies. They are my supporting characters in my brand.
Yeah. Having that good and compelling content. I know a lot, we hear it all the time, in the social media world or in the marketing world, but it's important. But one thing that I also want to say is that's very important that I think a lot of people miss out on is choosing the type of content that makes you shine. Mm-hmm. Choose the one that is right for you, right? If you love, like I love video, so I love being on Amazon Live. Like I have a live channel on Amazon. Tamira does lives all the time. Elaine does lives. If you like pictures, Instagram is my jam. I love Instagram. We have Katy, which I'm going to have her pipe in here with Pinterest. It's like choose something where your audience lives or where your clients live and that you also enjoy. Because if you're trying to do things, if you look like a deer in headlights on video, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But if you have a fantastic voice and you are a thought leader, you could have a podcast. We now have Clubhouse. I mean, there's so many other opportunities if you want to go into the social media space as one pillar of your marketing, should not be the only pillar, but as one pillar of your marketing, then you want to do that. So Katy, when it comes to Pinterest, I think that people have a huge misconception about what Pinterest is. You and I know what it is, right? Tamira knows what it is. What do you have? 2 million, 4 million views on your post, Tamira? 2 million views, monthly views on her post. Tamira has. Katy, tell us what Pinterest is and that big misconception. Clear it all up for us.
Pinterest is basically Google with pictures. It is a search engine. So when you're getting down to the nitty gritty where social media is interaction between people, where it's that communication, it's that back and forth, Pinterest really is the one-sided where your clients are going to get in, type in what they're looking for. And if you're creating your stuff properly, you're going to pop up in their feed. So it's key to make sure, and piggybacking off what Tamira said, making sure that your content is out there, because you can't do a whole lot with Pinterest if you don't have your content put together and if you don't have things laid out. And I love that you held back on marketing, because Pinterest is one of those key places where if you don't have anything to offer your clients, Pinterest is going to do no good for you. So I don't want anybody jumping onto Pinterest just to get out there. Make sure that you have your business in place and you have all your product laid out, because that's the best way that Pinterest is going to work for you. Because again, when your clients get out there, they're going to type in the keywords looking for you. That's how your ideal clients actually find you, using Pinterest.
Yeah. And so what are some of the ways that people are actually using Pinterest to generate sales? Like, what are people actually doing?
I don't think we have enough time.
Well, then maybe one or two best practices.
One or two best practices. Yeah.
How about
again,
that?
Make sure that your content is in place. The next big thing is to make sure that you actually have a sales funnel in place, because the whole point in Pinterest is they literally want you to direct them off of their platform. They want you to set up advertisement, because that's basically what Pinterest is it's a picture advertisement. They want you to click on that pin and they want you to direct the people to your website, to your content, to your sales page. That is exactly how Pinterest is using it. So make sure that as you're putting your stuff out there, that, Tamira's suggestions about your catchy little phrases and all the rest of it, they're called pin titles on Pinterest. And that is exactly those pin titles. And then your big descriptions about what your pin is directing your clients to. Those are where you're using those keywords. In Pinterest, it's keywords. On social media, it's hashtags. So make sure that, whatever hashtag you're using throughout your social media campaigns, that you're using those as keywords within Pinterest. Those are the big things, is making sure you've got your content, and the sales funnel that goes along with it, as well as those keywords that as people are searching, for example, how do I put lipstick on a pug? Not that it's, something that anybody would actually search for, but those keywords are what you're looking for. So it's not just about, your whatever your blog post or your video is about, or even your Instagram story, because you can actually direct Pinterest traffic to your Instagram stories, to your Facebook group, to your landing page. So make sure you have all your content and all of your sales propaganda and all the rest of it in place before you even land on Pinterest.
Love that. I'm curious, Paige, I want to ask you, since I know you're the Instagram guru.
Not a guru, just a practitioner.
You know what I mean? An expert.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
So Katie was mentioning hashtags and
yes.
Being able to make your content searchable is
right.
super duper important. So how on Instagram, what do you think the most underutilized feature of Instagram is, and how can we make our content searchable on that platform?
Okay, well, obviously using hashtags are very important, but making sure that you have the right combination of hashtags, right? You don't want to necessarily use like something like hashtag love, because that's like a gazillion people. But if you want to do something, love in Milwaukee, or, love in foster care, something that's more kind of like long tail keyword, that would be better. Really good question about underutilized. I think that there are two things that are underutilized on Instagram right now. One, I'm sure you all have heard, and if you haven't heard of it, it's Instagram Reels, which is essentially Facebook and Instagram's answer to TikTok. So Instagram Reels are short videos, 15 to 30 seconds, where you can show your personality, do something comical, educate, all of those things. So I think Reels are, and Tamira can also chime in on this, but it's really helping you to become visible. And that's what I'm all about, is the visibility piece. And it's really helping people discover you. It's a discoverability option that a lot of people aren't utilizing right now. The second one that I would definitely say are Instagram guides. If you don't know what an Instagram guide is, you should probably be writing one, or 2 or 5, because it is a way for you to showcase other content, people that you admire or products that you love, and then those people will get tagged, and then they could possibly share your profile with their audience. So those are the 2 that I would say are the most underutilized right now.
Yeah.
Tamira, did you have something you want to add?
Can you just refresh me on the question really quick? I'm sorry, I was posting this to my story.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
The most underutilized features, like we were talking about Pinterest and then Instagram, like what do you think is the most underutilized feature on a social platform?
See my excitement? Okay, so on Pinterest, there are Pinterest stories. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And are not the same as Instagram stories, however. They're more so for you to show how to do something, like, how to do a makeup look, for example, how to, a recipe. They are like being highlighted. They are the way to get out in the feed. That's how I got, at one point I was up to 2.7 million monthly views on Pinterest. It's gone down just because I haven't been pinning as much because homegirl is tired. Okay. And on Instagram, I would definitely say Reels. I would concur with guides. I would also say in stories, people are not utilizing the stickers as much as they should. The questions, the polls, and using those to guide not only your content, but even your offering. Kim Kardashian, people do not like, regardless of what you think about her.
Right.
As a marketer, though, brilliant. One of the first things she did was she amassed a huge following on Twitter, and she would ask them, and she does this to this day using Instagram stories, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she develops the product based along, not just solely on that feedback, but including that feedback. And now what you've done is you've ascended someone. I talk about in the conversation as the new lead and an influence booster, the customer journey, the buyer journey, right? You ascend people really quickly when you ask them for their opinion, because they're like a-holes, everyone has one, right? And people love to share their opinion. And so now they've gone from a complete stranger to a raving fan to someone with a vested interest in a product, because they may have helped name it, they may have helped determine the shade, they've given their feedback.
And there's automatic buy-in with that, right? So when that's so brilliant. So when it comes to Instagram guides, I'll just quickly give you a overview, because I do Instagram classes. The Instagram guides are a way for you to essentially make a mini blog post on Instagram. And so you can choose 3 different types of guides. It can be a place, a product, or a post. So previous people's posts, you can use you can put in San Diego, it'll pull up all the pictures of different restaurants or whatever. So you're essentially giving a insider's view to a particular topic. You can use that for recipes. Let's say that you are a food, you sell food or spices like a Tastefully Simple or something like that, and you have a whole slew of posts that you've previously done that show a particular spice like garlic, which is my favorite. You can go and pull up garlic posts from Instagram, not only your posts, but also other people's posts, and put that into a guide. And so it would be basically a compilation of content that you didn't necessarily have to create yourself, but that's beautiful content that you know your audience would enjoy, all about the garlic spice, or all about cooking with chicken, or all about cooking keto. So it's a great way for you to showcase other brands and content creators. And then in turn, they will probably, most likely they will share it on their stories. So happy to be featured. It's really about that top 10, or, they do like the top 10 influencers or the top 10 people in the beauty space. It's just a really great way to cultivate lists and to showcase others, as well as showcase your own content. I would be remiss to say, if you create a guide, make sure you're someplace in the guide, because you never know who's going to pick this up from the news feed, from the mass media, and then make sure that you are in there as well to garner yourself some additional visibility.
Absolutely. Whenever you do a listicle, always slide yourself or your product in there. Otherwise, don't do it.
Hands down.
Yeah. I had made, when Paige first told me about guides, I had no idea it existed, right? But when I was doing my subscription box, I created a guide with other people's profanity products in there, and then slid one of mine in there. But because Instagram has shoppable posts, and so I created one where other people could go purchase other items from other people's shops. That was the first one that I made, and I didn't go back and do another one because I was like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. Like
it is a lot of work. I mean, it's a definite strategy for you to use if this is something that you're interested in. So as far as the guides, once you create a guide, you can actually go to Paris by Paige, or even Elaine Turso to see the guides that we've created. There's actually there's an icon on your actual profile that stays static on your profile that shows your guide. So it is not something that goes into your feed, but it is on your profile. So it would be listed just like IGTV or your Instagram Reels or your store, your shoppable posts. I also use shoppable posts for my products that I have, and I love being able to tag my products. So if you actually have a tangible product, you can tag that in Instagram and have people shop either directly in Instagram, they can put their credit card information, or you can lead them directly to your site, which is how I like to do it on my own real estate. But yeah, so there's so many different things that you can do with that. I know we're talking a lot about social media, so I want to move it over to some other ways that you are able to market yourself. And one of the ways that I love and that I employ, and that's a revenue stream for me, is speaking, right? Either speaking virtually or in person. Things have been changing, right, in the last 18 months, but speaking is still a very, very effective method of marketing yourself and your business. And I would like to talk to Caterina about what are some of the ways, in addition to speaking in public or in person, what are some of the other opportunities that people can get on stages and can speak about their products and their services?
Well, there's a few different questions in there, Paige. There's lots of different ways to speak. We think of speaking in front of a live audience, and of course that works. At the same time, most of us have not been doing any live. I don't think I've done any live and in-person speaking since last February. And I'm speaking up to 5 times a week, not including Clubhouse, which is another 5 times a week. And I will say that Clubhouse is a great platform for speaking, although you're not necessarily speaking in the traditional sense, because most of the time you're not hosting a room by yourself. You're co-modding, and at least have 3 to 4 co-mods in your room. I do not recommend 25 co-mods because it's a little bit harder to bring your massive value. Why speaking works though, Paige, before I dive into your question, is because we get to build not only Insta influence when people see the massive value that we have to bring, but people can instantly begin to resonate with us and how we bring our message and who we are. And I love, Tamira, what you said, that people connect with our, admire our strengths and connect with our weaknesses. I would say weaknesses or quirks or what we have in common with them. You know, sometimes I'll say something in Italian and people will come up to me after and say, oh, I'm Italian, or my mother's Italian, or things like that. You know, these things that allow people to connect with us through speaking. Now, when we think of speaking, not just audiences, of course, we've all been speaking via Zoom. And when the pandemic hit last year, I started to host all community meetings with my clients. And I told them to take their thing on Zoom right away. And many of my clients had their best year ever last year because they instantly started doing what I call your thing, your 1 hour free thing once a month or twice a month. I have ladies doing it every week because it allows you to always have something to invite people to. But you're not inviting them, hey, come to my 5-day seminar. You're inviting them for a low time commitment. And of course, free is a low dollar commitment. So you're going to get a lot of people that are coming to check you out. And that's great because you're going to bring your massive value. That's what I would like everyone to embrace as a standard operating procedure as marketing for their business. Because when I'm networking, when I'm talking to people on Facebook, I just had a beautiful lady from Israel send me a note a couple days ago on Wednesday on Instagram. She said she's listening to my podcast and it's uplifting her. And you know what I said to her? Hey, my friend, come to my thing, which was the next morning for me, 8 p.m. for her. She came to my workshop. Now we're friends. Now we're talking on Instagram. We already scheduled a Zoom Connect, because I'm not going to say, hey, thank you for your note. Come to my 2-day seminar. We want something easy, and that gains Insta clients when we get to build Insta influence. Another thing is to get together with someone else and host something. But what we're talking about here is not podcasts or videos, although those are all great. But what they're not is they're not lead capture, like when someone has to register to come to your thing. There's many other, I've got 9 different ways to embrace speaking, but these are what I believe the best thing is to have your regular Zoom thing. And then when you're out speaking other places, you get to invite people to come to be with you, because the more time we spend with people, the more influence we build. So you give a 20 or a 30-minute talk somewhere, invite them to your 1 hour, or invite them to your 2 hour, or even your 3 hour at the most, because you don't want that next ask to be too big. Oh, those are a few. I got a lifetime supply. Yeah, okay, Paige.
I love that, and I love the whole concept. And you know, Elaine and I talk about this with our clients all the time, about the easy ask, right? Right. And so I really want to ask Misti, talk to us a little bit about that whole concept of not sounding salesy, right? I think a lot of people are like afraid to even ask. Right. And if you don't ask, you don't receive. So talk to us a little bit. Talk us through that a little bit.
How to not sound salesy. I just want to say, first of all, like listening and being here with you ladies, this is so amazing. I'm just honored to be here with you. So thank you. This is so beautiful. How do we not sound salesy? So that actually starts way before you get on the call. way before you get on the call. Okay. So that first thing I always recommend to not sound salesy is, one, love the flip out of your offers. Love them. Like if you don't love it so much that you can't wait to go proclaim what you're doing to like anyone that will listen, and not to be like salesy about it, to just be like, I created this amazing thing and it's getting results for people. If you don't love it first, then you're automatically going to get into convincing mode. And that is where salesy takes off. Because as soon as you're into convincing mode, you're not present with someone, you're making it about you. A real fast way to get out of salesy mode is just click over to what's happening for the other person in the conversation. It's like the fastest way, actually. Am I trying to convince somebody right now of something? That means I'm not listening.
Misti, would you also say, I mean, I'm not like running the show here or anything.
Whatever, girl, go ahead.
Listening to you, I came up with a question. So I often feel too, like when someone's not 100% confident or don't have 100 belief in their offer or product, that's also when they come across salesy. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so what happens for us is that when we're nervous, we don't sound nervous. We sound like we don't know what we're talking about. That's what happens when we get nervous. So we get in our head about it. And you know, it's so easy because you guys, I was the worst salesperson in the whole world. Anyone listening now, if you have a fear of sales, if you're nervous about it, if you think it's icky, I was there, did it, had it, hated it, did more than 150 sales calls wrong before I got it right. So just know that if you feel that way, if you feel like you're in that icky spot, if it feels like you're in convincing mode or that you're nervous, that's your focus on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And no one's like, I'm going to make this about the Misti show. No one comes in like that. We don't come in like, but we also want to sound like we know what we're talking about. And we want to, you know, whatever we want to be coming across, everyone has their own words about how they want to be perceived by others. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I totally hear you. It's really like anytime you're nervous, whatever, the focus is over here. And it's just about shifting it back to the other person.
So let's talk about like the consultation or like the sales call or whatever you call it, discovery call, whatever. There's a million things that people call it, right?
Yeah.
What are like some of the main questions that we should be asking our clients when they are like interested in what we have to offer and we're trying to see if they're a good fit? What are some of the questions that we should be asking? And I know there's like the rule, you know, you should be talking 20% and listening 80%. So those questions that you ask really should be on point and good. So what would you say are those questions?
Yeah, I mean, I run a discovery call the same way every time I do it. If your calls aren't highly repeatable, I mean, highly repeatable, you're making it very difficult for yourself. So one, what do you really want? Most people, you know, I work in transformation. We don't all work in transformation, but in many cases, even it doesn't matter what you do, actually. Most people aren't really clear on what they want. So what do you really want? What would be the best thing that could happen for you right now in terms of whatever your topic is? What if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and get whatever you wanted? What do you really, really want around whatever it is you do? That's one question. I ask it all the time. Why don't you have it yet? What's stopping you? This question, and I say the discovery call is just as much your discovery as it is their discovery. You're actually not in a discovery call to sell something. Most people don't actually, some people agree with that and some people don't. You're actually not in a discovery call to sell something. You're in the discovery call to help the other person make a choice. And even if you just get into that mindset, oh yay, thanks, Tamira. Even if you just click into that mindset, that you're just there to help somebody else make a choice. That they are ready to choose something different for themselves. That they're ready to get assistance doing it. That they feel you're the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think about that, and I think about the different ways that, you know, people convert, right? When it comes to their clients. And I know that speaking is like a really good way to do that. So Caterina, I got a question for you. So what is it about speaking that makes it so important to sales?
Here's the thing. A lot of people make the mistake of getting on that call when they don't have any influence built already. I don't want to talk to people and try to convince them. Nobody wants to try to convince, which is why I want to build influence before I get on the phone with someone. And when I'm speaking or someone's coming to the workshop, two things are happening. They're gaining value. But the other thing is, I am evaluating them. That is like our coffee date with dating, okay? That's our coffee date for me to see if I want to have lunch with them, okay? And that sales conversation or discovery call, I call it a sales conversation because it is, I want to be clear about what it is happens after influence has been built. Now, here's the thing. It's very important to note, some people just need 5 minutes and they're ready to go. That's what we call an Insta client, right? Some people, they want to come to your workshop. They want to look at everything on social media. They want to talk to your 5 friends. They want to come to something else for free. Then they might be ready even just to talk to you, okay? Some people, I have one lady I'm blissing because she came to a speech I gave 6 years ago and ran into and other workshops and other free things, ran into her on Clubhouse. Another 6 weeks, I was reaching out to her. By the way, how many times did she reach back? This many times, okay? But then she calls me on a Saturday. She says, I cannot let another day go by before I talk to you. And she signed up for our retreat, which is a substantial investment. I'm sharing that because a lot of ladies make mistakes. Like everyone's like, what do I say? What do I say? But you know what? It's not only about what you say. Are you following up? Are you building influence? Because one of the challenges is we get discouraged. Oh, I reached out to her 3 times and she didn't reach back, so she must think I'm a terrible person, right? No, we have to manage our disappointment. It is, of course, disappointing, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't want to be with you. So the answer is yes until you hear a no. That's a very important guiding principle. And then when people are not ready to buy or wanting even to have that conversation, then I know that I have to build more influence with them. So that means I'm going to invite them to my next, hey, come to my next thing. Come to this, come to that. Now I'm looking, we have courses and we have books and guides and videos, but I'm looking to invite people to something where I can engage with them. Okay? Because when everybody feels seen, heard, valued, welcomed, cared for, included, they know that they matter, now they want to talk to you. And this is why I make a distinction between speaking and videos. Okay, you can of course share value, but you don't, Sheila knows that you're not seeing her looking back at her. And, you know, with speaking, I like to talk about how to be a good speaker, but the best way to be a good speaker is make sure everyone in your audience feels seen. And this is where we use our reactions and we ask questions and we say, Sheila, so happy to see you today, when we see her smile on the screen. And the more interactive our speaking can be, the more she's now open to working with us also.
Yes.
Paige,
Oh my
I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
oh my goodness, that answered my question and so many more. I think that is so important. You know, building that influence is critical. And I think that so many people miss the boat on that. A lot of content, well, they aren't even content creators. I can't even call them that. But a lot of entrepreneurs have something to sell, but yet they don't build an audience first. They don't build up that know, like, and trust factor. And then they want to know why they spent, you know, 20, 30 hours building a course and no one purchases it. It's because you haven't built that rapport yet. You haven't built that influence yet, right? And there's no, there's no audience to buy it. It's like, who are you built? What have you given? What value have you given? What, you know, content are people trusting from you? You have not given that yet. And that's part of, I think that's the real big difference and it's nuance that a lot of people don't look into between being an entrepreneur, being an influencer. So when someone says to me, you know, sometimes influencer gets a bad name, I don't mind calling myself an influencer, right? Because I actually have the receipts of where people purchase from what I share with them. But they also know that I am not going to BS them. If I say that this particular product is better in this way because of these reasons, or that particular product, they can trust what I'm saying because I've built that trust with them. So I think that is so, so, so important. I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah, Tamira and I, we do talk about this all the time, about building that know, like, and trust factor. And that matters when it comes to sales as well.
Well, what I see is a lot of people feel like, I'll use myself as an example because I've been here, okay? So I don't want anyone to always feel like I'm talking about other people. I've got the double master's degrees. I've got the 30 years of sales and marketing experience. But to a person who doesn't know me, they don't care. I mean, it gives me this much influence, right? Janet Jackson said it best. What have you done for me lately? You know, where is the value? Where have I shown up and shown that I've transformed other people's lives, their businesses, and whatever else it is? Because Misti said that, you know, she works in transformation. Honey, we all better be working in transformation, because that's what's going to convert. Is I take you from posting to social media crickets to being a social media rock star, right?
Right.
That's what it's about. What transformation are you providing to people? And if you haven't articulately shown that, if you have not shown that with social proof, that's one of the most important pieces of content, is your social proof that you have earned the right to be charging people $25,000 and $30,000 for a retreat. You better get back to the drawing board, and you better get some people who are gonna be willing to stand up and truthfully say what you've done for them, in order to be able to say to a complete stranger, now buyer, moving through the buyer journey, that, hey, yeah, you know, you want to spend $25,000, $30,000 with me. Well, you better do like Caterina said. You better be spending some intimate time with me. We got to get to know each other, boo. I need to know, are you going to think something's weird when I eat my ketchup on my tacos, right?
Exactly. And it's about results, right? People want to see results.
Yeah, that's the transformation.
That's the transformation. I mean, call it transformation, call it results. They want to know that they have a really clear grasp of what they can do now for their clients. You know, a lot of people are in the service-based industry. I happen to straddle both service and product-based, and I'm okay with that. And I understand that people need different things, right? Those customer journeys are not one and the same. They are not. They have different expectations, and you have to make sure that you know what those expectations are and that you're meeting those expectations.
Mhm.
I think that that is like super, super duper critical. Okay, so another question that I'd like to ask even Elaine, this question. So we're talking about social media, we're talking about having conversations on calls, we're talking about speaking and all the things. Many people have mentioned their podcast. So how the heck do you do it all? I mean, how do you be in all the places at all the times and all the stuff? Because I know one of the comments I always hear from people about you, and I just have to chuckle because I know you have a system, but people always say, gosh, I see you everywhere. Do you ever sleep?
They do ask me that if I sleep. They do. It's so funny. I'm like, yes, I sleep. I figured out the strategy, right? And being able to repurpose my content in a way that I don't have to come up with brand new content every single day. So I actually have I actually made a little video about it the other day on TikTok, about this process that I use is I start with one piece of content a week and I create a blog or an article, and then I can make a video about that and I can do it on Zoom, and then I can take the audio from that and put it onto my podcast. I can put it on YouTube. I can add my blog onto LinkedIn if it's of the appropriate place. I can then put it on Pinterest. I can make Instagram and Facebook posts around the exact same thing using Facebook Creator Studio, post it once and post it twice, right? It's brilliant. Love that feature. But being able to like, how can I expand this content a little bit more throughout the week is I don't have to do it all on the same day, right? I can spread it out so that I have different content going out on different days of the week, and I can add quotes. I love quotes. I will go find quotes that are applicable to the content that I am sharing that week. And then I'll use pictures. I've discovered that people prefer to see my face than they prefer to see graphics. So I've done the research. I've tried it both ways to see which one do I get the most engagement with. Apparently people like my face more than they like a graphic. So that's what I have to do now, which means I have to take more damn pictures of myself. And I don't really want to do that, but it's what I got to do. But being able to just break it down, and then I can take those little videos, the video that I made, and I can make little clips and put those on TikTok or put them on Instagram Reels so that I'm hitting all the places. But it can feel like a lot. And if you are like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start, then hire somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. So MJ just brought up a really interesting topic. And I know that a couple of people here have different beliefs on this particular thing. I'm very much contrary to what a lot of people think. So she said, using Hootsuite to schedule your posts on social media and all of that kind of, the scheduling apps and stuff like that. And I'll just tell you up front, I feel that sometimes those planning apps are a crutch and it takes you away from true engagement. So I think it's great if you use planning apps to plan, but not necessarily execute on your social media. If you have a post that you want to go out at 10 o'clock, you damn well better be available at 10:02 to be able to engage and reply to the posts that are being put out there. So I think engagement trumps planning at any time, even though I do use some apps to plan. Any other thoughts on that?
Preach, because that's exactly like, I know that when I wake up, the first thing I do is I'd see what's happened on the world while I was sleeping, right? And so I know I'm engaged on the platforms. So that's an optimal time for my scheduled post to go out, is because I'm engaged on the platform. And so my stuff is going to get seen more because I'm engaged on the platform. So when are you going to be on the platform? That's when your stuff should be scheduled. So 100% agree with you, Paige. It doesn't matter what you use, but it must be when you are going to be on the platform. And like Jessica is saying, using the native scheduler, so using what is in Facebook, like using Facebook to schedule posts versus using an outside source, it is going to have an impact for sure.
Definitely have an impact.
So can I jump in on
yes,
just this
please,
one?
Katie.
So what I do in a lot of that is I do pre-plan. So I have a monthly theme, and then each week it's the same way that Elaine does it. Is each month has a theme, so each week has a basic hardcore when it comes to that content. And then what I do, as opposed to scheduling everything within those platforms, I actually put it in my Trello boards. And so I have the graphic or the idea for the selfie. I have my caption or the pin title, the description, my hashtags, all of that stuff is listed in Trello boards, so that when I'm on that platform and I'm ready to be interacting, I simply go to Trello, copy and paste, upload it, and done. So that it's already pre-scheduled, right? I've already got everything together so that it's more spontaneous when I'm actually on those platforms.
Absolutely.
So
like
it's
blocking
best of both worlds.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So have it somewhere, everyone, so that, you know, like when you can time block some, you know, chunk out some time to create all that content, pick out your themes, whatever you're going to do, have it somewhere, but make sure that you are available on the platforms, because I think it's one thing to just like post and ghost, I guess is what I will call it. And then people are just like, wait a minute, I said I liked your thing and you didn't say anything back, right? I think you lose people more faster, quicker on the social media platforms than you think you do by doing that. Tamira, did you have something you wanted to add?
I will say it depends on the type of content. So like my more evergreen content, like blog posts, I will use Smarter Q.
Of course.
To send those out.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, I love Trello. Like Trello is just, because I'm visual. So where I used to have Post-it notes everywhere, I wanted a wall of just like a whiteboard and Post-it notes. Now I have Trello. And I don't even mind paying the $5 a month or whatever, the $60 a year. It does, so that way I don't walk around with Post-it notes everywhere and I can see it. So what I love about that is like I do some evergreen annual content, right? And so one of the things I teach people with content strategy is, so next Wednesday is the beginning of one of my annual events, right? It's going to be 80% content from previous years with 20% new content folded in. And so every year it's documented, every single word that was said, every image, every video. And now I can just easily move things around and say, okay, here's what needs to be refreshed. That's looking a little old. Yeah, I got more lines under my eyes now, so I need to refresh that, you know, and get it right. And it's a lot of fun. And again, it's all about the engagement. It's so engagement driven.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something that might hurt your feelings. So brace yourself, okay? You cannot take likes, comments, followers to the bank. Okay.
That's right.
You cannot necessarily take engagement to the bank per se. However, if you are getting the engagement, you are going to likely also be converting the people that are engaging with you to getting on your email list and becoming leads. And now you have a predictability factor. Okay. So I'm sorry to be the one to pull that Band-Aid off, but you hear me talk about engagements. Okay. But I'm not just the chief engagement officer. That's a C-suite title, right? I gave myself a C-suite title. I invented that. And that's because the C-suite people are all accountable for the bottom line. They're accountable for the monies, okay? And so the monies are going to trail from engagement by way of lead collection. So if at some point your engagement is not leading to get on my email list, join my webinar, join my Zoom, as Caterina has been talking about, to be able to develop that relationship deeper, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. You just said it. Nobody else, I mean, you know, I don't have anything else to say. Caterina, did you have something that you want to add?
Yes, to give a guiding principle. So we've talked about so many amazing things. I 1000% agree with Tamira. we used to think that content was king. And yes, content is important. Today, engagement is king, or queen, even better. Okay, it's all about engagement. And I want to also encourage everybody to have SOPs, standard operating procedures, to promote engagement. For example, when somebody joins our Facebook group, we send them a direct message and invite them to a workshop. Okay. And when they tell me in 3 months, because they don't always see those, that they missed that note, I invite them to the next one. Okay. Now, sometimes we get Insta engagement from that. The other thing is, I'll mention Clubhouse again. When people come to a room on Clubhouse, don't only follow them on Instagram, send them a personal note. Thank you for coming to the room. Would love to see you. Come to my next workshop or something else. Like the thing is, don't just do it. Have a standard operating procedure that you're rinse and repeating every single time. That not only is, okay, great, they came to my room, I'm going to follow them back. That is promoting more engagement. Have your list, do it, upgrade it. By the way, why do we have it on the list? So sometimes we can delegate some of that too, as we get bigger and bigger. Like when I do a workshop, secret alert, right after I meet with my assistant, we say, okay, who are the ladies that didn't show up? And I send them a direct message. I tell Kelly what to say, but she's the one that does it. And then the ladies that did come, okay, let's get them to come to what's next for them. Here's those notes. So those are standard procedures that happen every time, because the more we can rinse and repeat, not only our content, but our engagement, the more we're going to get better results. And by the way, we cannot do everything. So this is where the delegation and the support also for engagement comes in.
Yes.
I was going to say it is definitely all about systems. I think also Misti can chime in on this, but when you have those systems in place and the follow-up and the funnel and what's next, right? It takes the nose off of being personal on you, right?
Well, yeah. First of all, everyone should know that a no is never personal.
That is right. But
never personal. It is always about what the choice that the person is making for themselves about what they want in their lives. It feels like it's about us because we're in the room hoping for a sale. But yeah, and I actually want to say to what you were talking about before around engagement, I think Jessica, I don't think she's an attendee, maybe, talked about priming the pump. Do not expect to broadcast your content, go poop in a bunch of groups and run away and expect to get clients, because it is not going to happen. It is just not going to happen. I'm a business coach, so I talk to people all the time who aren't getting the results that they want. Well, where are you going? Well, I'm just showing up on my own personal page. I'm hoping to get clients. I go post in a group every once in a while. I'm like, what do you expect to happen from this kind of setting up of your marketing and sales processes? Yes, do not poop in a group. That's what I call pooping in a group. You go poop your post and run away. And I'm like, don't poop in my group, and don't go poop in anybody else's group either. So yes, I hear that. And so to that, whoever said that about priming the pump, you really do have to go do that. Yes, go engage in groups, go engage, and then post your stuff and engage with other people's stuff and be a part of the community. Like, what do you think?
It's called social media for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah. The other thing I'd like to add is that, I think we are, when we are in scarcity mindset, it's buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And I really want to encourage people about add value, help people solve their problems for free. Like, you can't just expect that you post your graphic that everybody else in your company uses, or you make this compelling post and that people are just gonna, okay, yeah, I want to buy your stuff. Like, it's not they don't go to social media to be sold to. They go to social media to connect. So connect with your people, be authentic, show up as yourself, and add value to their lives instead of just buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. That is no longer going to work for you. So you have to be willing to spend the time to build the relationships and connect with people on a one-to-one basis, because when they feel seen and heard, like has been said, then they will buy. But they're not going to buy just from your Instagram post or from your, they're not. So we have to be willing to invest more time and energy into showing people how we can help them solve the problem that they have in their life, plain and simple. So Misti, I so appreciate the conversation that you're bringing to the table, because, you know, the sales call, getting people from social media to a sales call is a skill. Do you have any thoughts around how to do that?
Keep doing it again and again and again. Most people think, I'm going to go do something for like a month, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to quit because that's the universe telling me I shouldn't have a business. And I'm like, what? Try something for 6 months. Work it out.
9 months, right?
Right. Then see if you like it or don't like it. So for me, like how to get people from social media into a call, keep asking and ask again and do it again and ask again and have ways that people can get into conversation with you. And you have to keep telling them it's there. There's no like telling one, I have a call, you should book it. It's super fun. And then like, that is going to be how people get into a conversation with you. It is having multiple means into a conversation with you, offering it at the end of your free stuff. You know, I always say free stuff's great, do free stuff, but you better have a strategy around how that free thing is going to work its way into a call with you, if that's the end result, or a purchase of a product, if that's your end result, or whatever it is. So that's my number one way, is ask more. People, you know, people, we say it's like 9, you know, it used to be, I was in advertising back in the day for 20 years. And so the adage was 8 times. Well, we all know it's way more than that now. People say it's actually like 15 to 20 times.
Right.
Because, and not because people are dumb. They're not, they're very smart, but they're also very busy and they're not paying attention to you. They're just not paying attention to you. So we have to say it a lot. That's why we have to say it a lot. It's going to feel, because we didn't grow up as marketers. I mean, I did, because that's actually my, that's my degree.
Me too, and Tamira.
Right. So for us, I'm like, yay, I'm going to share my thing. But for many people, and I work with people who didn't come up in their path that way. So they're like, I'm sounding like repetitive and I'm saying it a lot and they're not going to like it. Well, that's a natural part of the process of developing this, but you have to move through that and you have to keep saying it again and again and again.
And you have to say it again. You're right. You're so right, Miss. You have to say it again and again, because people are depending on these algorithms, and then they blame the algorithm by saying, oh, you know, so-and-so. I'm like, you know what? You cannot blame the algorithm. My husband doesn't see my post. Facebook knows we're married because we told them for free that we were married. So why are you not showing him my post, right? And it's a matter of always bringing the value over and over and over again, right? Sometimes people don't have time to see it. Maybe they're, you know, engaged in doing a different activity. Sometimes the algorithm doesn't show it to them. But my whole thing is make sure you get people to a point or a place, preferably your email list offline, right, into your sales funnel or into your conversion funnel. Because if the social media platforms go away tomorrow, you no longer have 15,000 followers and they have no way, you have no way to connect with these people. So it is so important to have those, you know, opt-ins or freebies or whatever you want to call them, or however you get people onto your list, your workshops, your webinars, all those things, get them on your list so that you can have that continued conversation with them. Okay. Oh my goodness. We got so many like questions in the chat. There were a couple. Let me see here.
Doris had a question for Caterina.
Yes. Go ahead. What's the question?
So I want to make a really important point here. When we want to invite people to our webinars, which by the way, I don't want people to do webinars. I want them to use Zoom so that people can see, you can see your attendees and they can see you, so you can talk directly to them. Now, I know when we have a big group like today, it's not as easy to do that, but when you're going to have 10 or 20 people, make sure you're able to use gallery view, because part of your job is not just to share your content, it's to engage with them and make them feel seen, heard, valued, answer their questions, etc. The thing to recognize though is that people make a fatal, I don't like to use that word, but a big mistake when they are hosting a workshop. They say, okay, I'm going to put on my website. Okay, I'm going to put on in my groups. I'm going to, even if they're engaging, that is all promotion. Okay. And we know that there's too much or so much promotion. And Doris, this is for you and for everybody. The way to get smiles on the screen in the squares is with personal invitations. Now, when we see all the promotion, that is simply information. When we personally invite someone, guess what? Now they have to make a decision because their mama raised them right and they're going to respond to you. Okay? But they have to make a decision before they respond. So as a result now, they are checking their calendar. They are seeing if they can make it. And that is what puts smiles on the screen. Now, Doris was asking me, I send direct messages on Facebook to my potential clients. When I go networking and when I go speaking and I take a screenshot of all the ladies in the room that I just spoke to, yes, of course, I put stuff in the chat and all that, but now I can go to Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram and I can send them a direct message. Not everybody, but the ladies that were enthusiastic and participating, and then I can personally invite them. And again, standard operating procedure after a speech. The other thing I use is Facebook geo-targeting. Now, this is where, and this is a whole thing, and I have a video on this if anybody wants my video, but this is how you invite several people from one page, a direct message, without having to go to all their profiles. And Doris, I know you're going to love this if you're not familiar with this. So that is another strategy. There's 5 ways to personally invite people. You can pick up the phone. Hello, old school. You can send a direct message on social platforms. You can send a text. You can send a personal email. By the way, not an automated text, not a group message email, or you can make a postcard. I have one client who just sent out 200 postcards. She put a personal note on every one, and she got 6 people that reached back to her before she even did her follow-up. Okay, so that, and that's great. You say 206. Yeah, well, that's 6 people that reached out to her, and that is 6 great leads from postcards. So let's be very clear that promotion is a long way to get smiles on the screen or get sales, that it is about personal reach outs. I say to people all the time, would love to talk with you. Does anybody schedule? Almost nobody. I'm reaching out to them. Hey, let's schedule a call. Let's be very clear that unless you have a sales force, hello, sweetheart, you're it. And that is your job. And this is why, based on what the leadership panel was talking about earlier, my friends, you got 5 jobs in your business: speaking, selling, serving your clients, strategy, and self-care. That's it. If you are not having sales, it's probably because you're doing too much of the marketing tasks that nobody cares about whether or not you're doing. That's not your job. You're doing the graphic designing. Hello, Canva is not your friend if you are needing to be the salesperson and the speaker in your business. And of course, the more support you can get everywhere in your life, the more you're freed up for speaking and selling, and that is your job. And now with Clubhouse, you can't delegate that, my friends. It's got to be you. So you better have some time for that too.
Jessica just blew it up in the chat, and I want to just acknowledge this because this is so extremely true. Taking ownership of the initiative to our sales results by reaching out instead of sitting and letting people come to you. Can I get an amen? Like, seriously.
Amen.
Like, we cannot just sit there and wait for everybody to come to us. We have to be proactive. And Caterina, I love, love, love that you have created a strategy to be personal and to say, like, this is how I'm going to, like, manifest my own. It's action. It's not just sitting around and saying, I'm manifesting $1 million and expecting it to show up. It ain't going to show up unless you take action. So yes, yes, yes. I just love everything you're saying because it resonates so much. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's so important that everyone, you know, really sits back and looks at, I think Misti might have even said it, but looks back, and Sarah Michelle, about what they want their business to look like. Because what I want in my business is not what Elaine wants in her business. And that is okay. But are you doing the necessary task or activities, the revenue generating activities to get to your particular goal, right? And when it's not in alignment with you, being okay with saying that, right? And sticking to that and knowing that you have a plan to convert, to share, to empower other people for their own, you know, for whatever products and or services that you are selling. Okay. Wow. I'm just going to take a big deep breath. We had a lot of questions and we're running out of time on this particular panel.
I think we could talk about this all day.
I know, you know, I could, but that's beside the point. So I would love for everyone, all the panelists, to let people know, drop in the chat like we always do, where people can find you, where we can find you and all the things, so that if people want to connect with you more and learn more about you, that would be fantastic. So I will start with Tamira.
I was writing it in the chat. You can always find me over on Facebook. I'm a personal profile, Instagram at Haute Chocolat. And the easiest place is always my first name, last name.com, TamiraHamilton.com.
Love it. And don't forget to make sure that if you are enjoying all the knowledge bombs that we're dropping today, to take a picture on social media, tag us, right? Level Up to Scale Up, and or both, 8338 Collective. Make sure you do a story. Everybody has stories now. Pinterest has stories. IG has stories. Facebook has stories. LinkedIn has stories. We would love to have it. So next up, Katy, share where people can find you.
So social media and all those other platforms, Katy Kaumeyer, it's Katy Kaumeyer, and the website is Omni Media Designs.
I love it. Love it. Caterina?
Okay, I'm giving you the full report, which is check out our Expand Your Fempire podcast, download the free Expand Your Fempire app, come hang out with me on Clubhouse, Facebook Messenger. I have a speaking challenge coming up next month, and I'd love to connect with you on multiple platforms. Thank you.
Awesome. And Misti?
Hi guys. So coachmisti.com, that's M-I-S-T-I. So that's my website. And you can find me in Facebook in my group, Heart-Centered Entrepreneurs Making Impact and Income. I know it's a long name. We have a challenge coming up next month about selling out your program. So join in.
Awesome. E.T.?
I have some weird dog situation going on behind me. My pug is making some weird noises, so you go.
Okay, so then I'll go. So Paige Engle, you can find me. You can always just go into the Googles, because I have Google Juice, and type in Paige Engle. You can find me anywhere at Paris by Paige. Also, I would love for you to find me on Amazon and my Amazon Live. I'd love to interview any of you on Amazon Live. If you don't know that Amazon has a live channel, hit me up because we do. And now for Elaine Turso, you can reach her at elaineturso.com. Elaine the Brain. She is starting a marketing agency called Insource It. If you would like to be a part of her dream team, you can reach out to her both on Facebook and on Instagram at Elaine Turso.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So okay, we're going to take a lunch break. Go get some nourishment, get some fuel for your body, do some body movement, because you are not going to want to miss getting your re-energized, ignite your spark with Mr. Fidel Ford. He's going to bring all the energy and help us transition into our mastermind and our co-working opportunities. So if you have not yet purchased a ticket to be able to participate, you will get to be in the hot seat. So you do not want to miss out on that. And I will, there's a link that was sent out this morning into your email. The coupon code is Let It Be Messy, all caps, all one word, and you will get $38 off of the paid ticket. You'll also get a copy of my book when it comes out. You'll get a copy of Paige's book, and you will get a wonderful gift from Miss Barbara Portsline, which is valued at over $10,000. So hello. So go over and get your paid ticket at leveluptoscaleup.com and use the coupon code Let It Be Messy, get $38 off, and you can participate in our mastermind and co-working activities this afternoon. So be sure to come back and join us for Fidel's amazing talk, and we will see you guys in 30 minutes.